All right, it's 9:05 and we are recording, so we'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. So, first, I hope you guys are staying warm and are all ready for or already starting to fight the winter storm up here in Tulsa. I can't remember the last time we've gotten as much snow as they're saying. They're saying we're going to get 10 plus inches, which is wild. So we're all kind of the whole doing the Oklahoma thing. Everyone's going crazy and going to Walmart and stocking up and fighting for toilet paper. So hope you guys
I,
are all ready and staying warm.
I,
Kansas City,
I,
similar stuff.
yeah, I'm not quite as bad as you guys. Yeah, I'm woozy and I'm up in towards Kansas City. I think we're about to get. I think what they're saying about 5 to 6 inches for us here. So, did the grocery store fight the other day and battled that.
Yeah.
So we're ready for the long weekend here, I think.
Good stuff. We're gonna have a big old pot of chili at my house and just stay warm through the weekend. So,
Nice.
um, okay. So I want to kind of kick the webinar off. I want to start doing this with a little real estate industry stat update, news headline, whatever it is, something each week. And this week I'm gonna share. Let's see if I can get the screen up. Which one is there? Let's see. Can you see? Am I on Twitter? Is that what you're seeing, Wizzy?
Yeah, it's popping up.
Okay.
Institute.
Can you hear that when it starts playing?
Yep.
Okay, it's a 1.5 minute video. Let's watch this real quick.
Home ownership has always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions and millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high. Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream. In recent years, Wall Street giants and institutional investment firms, many of you are here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this, Joe. I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. Often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay, that's something we're going to have to think about too. I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses, they buy hundreds of thousands, they buy 500 houses, they can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will.
Okay, so I'm not uh, political, and I'm not being political here, left, right, or center. I don't really care. That's not the point. Um, so, some real estate experts will argue the share of ownership of homes is small enough, the corporate ownership of homes is small enough that it's not going to make as much of an impact. But nonetheless, going into the midterms, presidents start pulling all their strings to try to get the economy fired up and get people excited and get people optimistic about so they vote well in midterms. So hopefully this can kind of spur some little excitement in the real estate industry, and we'll see where it heads. So that's kind of just little something to share, a little headline. Anyways, so today we're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over the lead recovery and lead concierge, the handovers. I'm going to show you what the differences are between the two and just kind of give you some details on that. We'll show you an example of a real one and kind of what that looks like with the real lead that was out there from one of our campaigns that we've run. And then we're going to talk about the coaching skill, which is similar to the one we talked about last week, the advisory functionality, but the coaching is a little bit different. But we're excited to show you that and show you how that works. And at that point, we should be probably getting close to 30 minutes, and we'll go ahead and wrap. So with that said, Woozy, do you want to go ahead and show them the lead recovery, lead concierge, and talk about the handovers?
Sounds good here. Yep. So just little context here. So yep, we'll kind of go over the handovers here. And the two main skills that we're kind of still talking about is that lead recovery specialist and the lead concierge. In general, the handovers are going to be similar, but there are some differences here that we'll kind of point out here just on kind of how the skills work. And then we're going to kind of also go over the handover logic. Basically, we wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more insight of basically what our personas are actually looking for, how they're really qualifying leads that are coming in on the back end, and basically what qualifications are actually going to make those turn into a handover, just so you guys have a little bit more insight onto the kind of that back end of, exactly what the personas are doing, kind of what they're looking for, and how they're going to kind of steer those conversations in order to get those goals, in order to get you that handover here. So to start here, let me share my screen and we'll go through a couple examples here just to start. All right, so got that popped up here. So you're looking at just my demo inbox here. So I had two personas that I was testing with the other day. We've got this Catherine Estrada and then this Emerson Robinson here. I've already gone through and submitted myself as a test lead for Emerson. That one's the lead recovery specialist, and then Catherine's doing the lead concierge here. So one for each here. Had just a real generic conversation with them to basically trigger the handover, and then kind of wanted to go through here. So let's start with Emerson. So this one's going to be the lost lead recovery specialist. So just reminder on how this skill works. This is going to be the one where you're submitting kind of your dead lost leads from, past time into this skill. And then she's going to basically, or your persona is basically going to then start a long, month-long repeated campaign where they're reaching out, just trying to get any engagement and trying to time them out when they're back in the market here. So once you do get somebody that's, shown enough interest, whether they're qualified on that handover, then you're going to get a handover that kind of looks like this here. So you can see right from the start, there's going to be basically redacted information. You're not going to actually get that, lead like name and contact right from the start here. This is basically going to just be a summary of the conversation that the persona's been having with this lead for the last few months. And then basically at the bottom, you're going to see that you have the options of either accepting or rejecting this handover here. So remember with this one, it's set up to go find you those lost leads, give you this summary here once it thinks they're ready. If you read through this and decide, yep, this looks like a good lead, that's the point where you're going to basically accept it and make it yours. At that point, it'll basically give you that full unredacted handover and provide you with the name and email and contact information that'll kind of supplement this information here. But just real quick on this information, just to kind of go through it, you'll see kind of your just lead indicators here. How interested are they? How much are they engaged? You got kind of your sales overview. What are they specifically looking? If they, mention something like, hey, I specifically need a house, or I specifically looking for rentals, that kind of product category can show up here. Again, as well with timeline, as far as what timeline they're kind of saying that they want to kind of get that move accomplished. Conversational highlights. These are going to be things that the persona picks out of the conversation that they just think are either unique or could give you an advantage on when you reach out to this person on how to sell them. Budgeting is usually one that comes in here, as well as if they mention anything specifics about the house, layout, bedrooms, size, anything like that. Also, in this one, you can get some things just about life. If I would have said something about, like, oh, hey, kids have moved out of my house, I'm looking to just downgrade, or, a job change, anything like that. So life events can also come in here, which can kind of obviously help when you're reaching back out to them there. And then we kind of have this just lead potential. This is kind of the personas, just notes on exactly kind of where they think this leads at, as far as just kind of why they think they're handing it over. And then the next steps is basically just what they think the next things to do in order to steal this deal are here. So again, this is the redacted one from the lead recovery specialist. But now let's hop in to see the difference here from the lead concierge here. So with our lead concierge here, we've got our Catherine Estrada. And let's go ahead and open that one in here. So you can see right off the bat here, there's a few differences right when you kind of look in here. Biggest one right off the bat is going to be right at the start here. So with Lead Concierge, remember with this skill, we're now thinking more about your active or newer leads. So think about, if you've new ones that are hitting your CRM that you've decided to upload into your persona, or if you maybe ran an ad, or maybe even if you have a third-party marketing company that's providing you leads. Basically, once you get those leads in that CSV format, you can basically send them right to your persona, and then they're going to start reaching out immediately to these leads. These are going to be, like I said, more of your new leads, newer interest, and it's going to start contacting them right away on a little bit of a quicker pace than the lost lead recovery specialist here. At the end of the day, though, and we'll go over the handover guidelines here in just a second, but at the end of the day, they're going to be similar qualifications for what the persona is trying to get them to do. Obviously, at the end of the day, we want to qualify them so that they're ready to buy a house so that we can get you guys sales here. But you can see right from the start with the Lead Concierge, since these are more new active leads, we expect quicker responses. And also, since obviously speed to lead is a big important thing for all sales funnels, we don't want you guys to have the redacted information with this skill. Remember, kind of on the billing with this one, it's going to be basically by responses. So when people start responses, we want full visibility in you guys to take over those conversations at any time, as well as when you do get the handovers, we want you to basically jump in and take those leads right away, so that you can take over early in, or once you decide that they're also ready to be taken over here. So again, we'll kind of run through this real fast here. We've got our customer information here. On this one, I basically said I preferred phone, so it gave the fake phone number here that I provided, as well as I kind of gave it some times that were best there. So that's going to kind of be right there in the customer information, where if they do say a preferred method to reach out, it'll kind of list that here as well as time. And then again, similar as our last one here on a few of these, but this is going to be kind of what the lead was interested in. You can see here we got the single family home, neighborhood, as well as some details about the house, and then our price range and timeline there. I started this one with trying to string it along a little bit, saying that like I was just kind of keep an eye on things, but then kind of upped my urgency into kind of scheduling that call. So it kind of captured all that information here. And then again, you can kind of see it's trying to get, okay, so relationship building, what are some of those key insights from that conversation that might not be necessarily, straight numbers, but then just some facts that you might be able to help you kind of introduce yourself as well as engage with that lead in order to kind of make that process smooth handover there. And then bottom ones here, similar as the other ones, we've got our sales strategy. And then just this is just an extra thing we had on this one, just some agent encouragement, just the persona kind of, help motivate you to go take over this conversation here. So, and again, I guess the last thing on that one is you don't see the accept or reject down here with the Lead Concierge. These are all yours. So as soon as you get them, you're getting the handover no matter what, and you can take over the Lead Concierge customers at any time there. If you do need to just stop the communication with this lead, let's say you've already called them or something, you just want to make sure the persona stops. You also kind of have those options down here as well here. So that was a quick run through there of some kind of demos here. I do want to show you guys actually in the back what is actually kind of the argument that gives these handovers. So I'll show you this real quickly here. Don't get too bogged down by the back end here. This isn't something that you guys will ever really need to be in here. But I just wanted to quickly show in our backside here. So this is basically what we call the operating room. This is like the skill that is running the Lead Concierge skill here. Don't worry about any of that too much. Really, all I wanted to kind of show you here is this field right here that shows handover guidelines. Basically, when the persona is engaging with leads, it's going to be trying to qualify them based off a lot of the goals and instructions we put in the back end here. But really what it's going towards is it wants to qualify them to get them to a handover so that it's giving you a lead at the time where we deem it appropriate to be giving back to you here. And these rules here kind of dictate what goes into that decision. I've copied them onto this document real fast here just to so it can show easier here. But Basically, what it's telling the persona, and this one is set up for one of the Evan Carter persona that I have tested up here, but it's basically telling Evan Carter, hey, look, here's these guidelines that we want you to follow. And these should basically tell you exactly when you're engaging with leads, what you should try to determine from the lead, pull out from them. And then once you have that information, basically how to send it back over or what to send back over and when to send back over to the yourself as the real estate agent here. So I'll go through this really quickly here. But in general, the main point I wanted to hear is our basic framework for these is based off kind of these LP Mama qualifications here. So we're looking at, your location, price, your motivation, all those fun things. And basically what it's trying to do is qualify enough of those that it knows that this is a real lead with real intent so that then that's who we're actually passing over for you. We don't want people that are just, casually looking or, maybe just, oh, I just wanted to see what's out there though. We want to get some of that real intent and real thought behind it. And so this is kind of the basic framework here. So just real tight. We also have this kind of split into two kind of categories here. We have kind of an immediate handovers and kind of a qualification based handovers. Reason for the separation here is on the immediate handovers, if we get somebody that's, hey, first message, they're telling you, man, I need to move this month. I already know, I've already pre-approved. We don't want that conversation to, go a whole bunch of steps before getting to you. If somebody's obviously in the market right away from message one, we want that basically, if they give enough information there to basically get that one kicked right over to you there. So that one's to basically not miss those ones that are obvious, easy wins. And then from there, if they don't kind of have that obvious easy win on the first message, then it's basically going to go into this kind of qualification based, which is really going to lean into this kind of LP Mama framework here. So, let's say they show some interest, but don't kind of give you that immediate, like, yes, this guy's qualified. Then it's going to kind of start digging into these more. So it's going to try to, figure out if they're what they're looking for exactly. Are they, definitely in the market for a home? Are they just looking? Are they just looking for an appointment or information? Where are they at with kind of pre-approval or financing? Do they have a timeline ready or in mind? And specifically, is that timeline 6 months or less? And then let's see here. And then if no kind of if no immediate triggers met, then just kind of keep going through these here. So again, kind of just reiterating, we got location, property requirements, timeline, agent status. Are they already working with the real estate agent? Motivation. This can also be things like, personal, is it a job change? Is it, just they're sick of their old house, whatever it is. Mortgage readiness. And then from there, it's basically just telling them, hey, look through this conversation. You're supposed to be engaging, but look to qualify these. Once you get enough of these qualifies, that's when you're supposed to give it back over to the real estate agent there. So hopefully that's a little bit more insight into kind of what these actually look like, kind of how the persona is using the handover guidelines, and then how those actually get kicked back to you and organized there. So I'll stop rambling there for a minute and let's see, kick that back over to Jake and see if he's got any other comments there for that one.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you for that. With that, I'm going to just roll into the next topic, which is going to be the coaching skill. So if you guys remember last week, we had kind of shown you the advisory functionality. And I'm going to show you coaching this week, which is it's related, but it's different. Both of them are experts on material that it is trained to be an expert on, the material that's provided to it, but how you interact with them differs. So I'll just, before I show the coaching, I'll kind of reiterate the advisory, kind of how that works. What it is you upload information to your advisory persona. That could be maybe you have training material that you need to be able to reference and ask questions about. Maybe you have you last week I mentioned, like, if you do a training, you go to a training and they provide you with content to take with you to be able to reference. You can upload that information to your advisory persona, and then you can go back to your persona at any time and ask questions. Say, hey, I don't remember this part about it. Help me out. You could do this if you have a team, you could do this with your processes and procedures. You could do it with another example that I gave last week was like agent structure with a brokerage structure and the split structure. If you have, details on how that works for your team, you might be able to provide this to your team so they could ask questions and be able to understand So there's all kinds of use cases for both of these functionalities. That's advisory, is just questions and answering. I refer to it as like Johnny on the spot, answer a question for me based on the information I provided you. Coaching, on the other hand, same thing. You can upload the same type of information, whatever it is that you want to be coached on or coach your team on, or however you want to utilize the functionality. It will teach you and take you through the content rather than just answering questions about whatever part of the content you want. So I'm going to show you, I'll try to be fairly brief, but I'm going to show you what this might look like. Let's see, three. Okay, can you see this, Woozy?
Yep, it's blowing up.
Okay. Um, so this is Jean Paget. This is the test coach that we're using right now on our team. And this is kind of what an example of how it might work. So again, in this case, we've uploaded information on ISA training. There's some like ISA courses that we had material from. So we downloaded that material, uploaded to the persona, and now this persona can coach us on it, can teach us this material. So, would you start the conversation, coach me up? And how it works is it uses the Socratic method of teaching, which basically just means it wants to ask you questions and make you think about the answers and understand it through that method rather than just throwing information at you. So, pretty much every thing you get from the coach is going to be some information, and then it's going to be a question, and you're going to answer that question, and it'll speak to your answer, give additional context where necessary, and then I'll ask another question. So here's how that might work. Let's chat about your goals for ISA learning. And I'm not going to read these out. I'll just kind of give the high points of it. So wherever you think I should start, it says, tell me about what's an ISA? What do they do? I answer that, taking care of leads, speed to lead, providing leads to your sales reps, and making sure that those leads are followed up on and where possible closed on. So here's speaks to my answer. Ask me a question. What do ISAs not do? They don't close deals. So I answer that exactly right. So if selling is not the currency, what is the currency for an ISA? What's their outcome that they're looking for if it's not a closed deal? I thought maybe lead satisfaction. It said flows from it, but the heart of it is trust. So trust for an ISA is the real currency that you're looking for. So what are some habits that could build trust? And I answer that, focus on listening more than talking, et cetera, et cetera. Quick and honest feedback or quick and honest follow-ups speaks to that and ask me another question. How do you set expectations that are honest in response time to maintain speed to lead? And I answer that. Speaks to my answer, gives me a little more context, gives me an example of what that might look like, and then asks another question. How would you nurture a relationship based on relationship rather than forced booking? And I answered that, pushing for appointment and shift to being helpful. So you guys kind of get the idea here. It's going to give some more, it's going to speak to my answer. It's going to provide additional context where necessary. And then it's going to ask another question. So I answer question, same thing, answer the question, same thing. Once the coach gets a feel that you've got a good grasp, and the coach, how it works is it'll actually go kind of through the material in order. So it's based it's and Woozy, you might need help here. It's kind of chunked into modules. So based on what you upload in this document, this is like a module. So it's going to train on that first. Once you're up to speed on that, and the coach feels that you're knowledgeable enough for a quiz, it'll create a quiz based off that content. Am I explaining this okay, Woozy? Okay.
Yeah, so just quick example, like let's say you uploaded three different modules. Let's say module one was like the info here, Jake showing all on like ISA. Let's say module two was on event planning and module three was on I don't know, contracts. Basically what's going to happen is it's going to basically kind of start you in order there. So module one, it's going to kind of read all the information you've given it on ISA. It's going to kind of go through that, try to make sure you understand all of the points in this kind of natural back and forth. And then basically once it thinks that it's gone through all the information in that module and that your responses show that you're getting it, then that's basically when it's going to kind of complete that, give you a quiz, and then if you're happy there, kind of then go to the next module there for you.
Perfect. Thank you. So, kind of go back and forth, and then here we get to it provides a quiz. And this quiz, each quiz will be they're generated by the LLM based on the material, so they'll differ a little bit quiz to quiz. Um, and it's not something you have to set up, is kind of the point there.
Mhm.
So, and I'm going to go ahead and do this quiz real quick, and then we'll wrap up coming up on 30 minutes. So, what is the primary currency? It was trust. What task does not fall? That's going to be selling. What's an example of a real deal trust builder? Let's see, following through on promises, nurture versus conversion approach, which reflects nurturing. Not that. Sharing market insights, that might be a good one. Ignoring leads based off, there we go. Which of these professional standard ISA communication? Consistent tone. You know what? As I'm going through this, I'm actually not going to do this because I'm realizing this is going to take a little bit too much time. So there's going to be looks like there are 10 multiple choice questions, and then a couple of long form just answers that you'll type out your answer here, and then you will pass or fail, and from there you'll go on to the next module. So that is the gist of it. Am I missing anything, Wizzy, I need to speak to here?
Let me just throw a few more comments in. So, but part of the reason we built this like this is we wanted a true like coach where it would really force the students into really engaging with the material, as well as then giving the insight into basically how well they're doing and how they're interacting. We wanted to make a coaching skill where people were actually forced to learn something, if that makes any sense. I'm sure a lot of you have done those, yearly trainings or whatever, where you basically get a article, you get five multiple choice questions, and the first thing everybody does is quickly search for the answers and point them off, or take the quiz and then get the answers. So we wanted something a little bit different where it was really truly designed to teach and get people learning. So even if you fail this and go start retesting, every time you kind of re-go back into the model, it will be slightly unique. Every student that kind of goes and interacts based on their responses, the coach is going to teach them go down their own path. So like if me and Jake are both taking this test and I get super caught up on what an ISA agent's job's supposed to be, it's going to keep basically having that part of the conversation with me until basically I give answers that kind of prove that I'm understanding the concept. So if Jake, understands right away, gives good answers, it's going to quickly get him through that phase. Where if I'm struggling, it's going to work with me until I basically understand it here. So it's kind
Hmm.
of the idea that it helps people work at their own pace, but it kind of makes sure that all the knowledge is getting disseminated to the team.
The last thing that I'll add, and then we can wrap up, is on the coaching. Whenever you utilize the coaching persona or the coaching skill on your persona, the skill hat, whenever you set it up, it's going to have is it called a coach? Is that where the updates are going to, Woozy?
Yeah.
So you'll provide who the coach is. So if you're a single agent using it just for yourself, it's just going to go to you. But if you have a team, for example, they basically you'll get the coach gets updates of this of what the student, the person who's communicating with the persona, is doing that day, how they're doing on it, where the points that they're struggling on are, and just kind of insights, kind of similar to a handover in a different way. But basically, it's the coach is getting updates saying, "Hey, your student's going through this, and this is how they're doing on it." So. More to come there. We'll show you some more on that here shortly. But I think that's all the time we've got for the day. I don't think we had any questions come in. No, we're good today. So
And then I'll just real quick before we wrap, just timeline on those two for the advisory and coaching. The coaching's pretty good tested and ready. The advisory is kind of in final testing steps here, but we're kind of expecting within the next two-ish weeks here that those should be kind of rolled out to our early adopters and 1K Club here. So we'll hopefully get those in the hands over the next kind of week or two here for our early adopters, and then probably be available mass here just shortly after that.
perfect. All right, guys. Have a great Friday. Good weekend. Stay warm and reach out if you've got any questions. And as always, we'll share the recording early next week to give you this recording and also remind you every Friday at 9 a.m. we've got our webinars. Thank you, guys. Talk soon.
Thanks, guys.